Imagine this. You're standing in a dim hospital hallway, fluorescent lights flickering overhead, and a terrified young nurse is being dragged into an office by the hospital's own CEO. No one dares to intervene. No one even looks up. But then, a stranger none of them recognize walks in, and everything changes. If this scene already hooked you, make sure to like this video and subscribe because you don't want to miss stories like this. Stories that make your heart race and your soul feel something real. Emily Carter had only been a registered nurse for 7 months, but she carried her job like it was an extension of her heart. Every shift, she greeted patients with a softness that felt rare inside the cold steel walls of Ridgeview Medical Center. She believed hospitals were meant to heal, but lately, this place had been breaking her. The breaking point came the night she discovered a critical error in patient charts. Medication dosages had been altered. At first, she thought it was an honest oversight, maybe one of the nurses rushing during a hectic shift. But when she traced the digital signatures, her breath froze. The changes linked back to Dr. Martin Hale, the hospital's celebrated CEO. Emily felt sick. This wasn't just a mistake. This was intentional and dangerous. One wrong dosage had nearly cost a patient his life. She confronted him privately, heart pounding so hard she thought it might echo in the office walls. She expected denial, maybe even justification. But she didn't expect rage. "You will not mention this to anyone?" he hissed, stepping closer. "Sir, this could kill someone. And what do you think will happen to you if you keep talking?" Emily left his office shaken, but determined. She reported the incident to the board, anonymously, but somehow the report got back to Hale within hours. And that night, as the clock struck 11 p.m. and her shift was ending, she found herself grabbed by the arm and dragged toward his office again. "You made a big mistake, Nurse Carter." She tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. "You're going to retract your complaint. Right now." At that moment, the hallway door squeaked open. A man walked in, tall, dark jacket, worn boots, eyes sharp with the kind of focus that comes from a past no one talks about openly. His name was Ethan Brooks, a stranger no one recognized, but someone who carried storms inside his silence. He didn't work there. He wasn't visiting anyone. He simply said, "Let her go." Hale turned, startled, then smirked. "This doesn't concern you." Ethan stepped closer. "It does now."
Hales koffet.
Security. But the hallway stayed silent. The night shift guards were 2 floors down, and no one dared involve themselves in anything that had Hale's voice raised. Emily looked at Ethan, trying to understand why a stranger would intervene. His voice gentled when he turned to her. "Are you okay?" No one had asked her that in months. She felt a lump in her throat and nodded shakily. Hale glared. "Who are you supposed to be?" Ethan didn't answer. Instead, he took out a badge. Not a police badge, not a hospital badge, but one that made Hale's face drain of color. Federal. Ethan's tone remained calm. "I'm investigating reports of administrative malpractice tied to medication alterations. And Nurse Carter is the whistleblower you tried to silence." Emily gasped. She had no idea her anonymous report had gone federal. Hale sputtered. You can't just barge in here." "Oh, I can," Ethan said. "And I did." The next hour unfolded like a nightmare collapsing into justice. Ethan escorted Emily to a conference room, recorded her testimony, documented the evidence she'd saved, and reassured her that she wouldn't lose her job. But Emily wasn't reassured. "They'll blackball me. Even if Hale is removed, the board loves him." Ethan's expression softened. "Then I'll stay until this is over." And he did. For weeks. He wasn't just an agent. He became her quiet anchor. He sat with her during hearings, defended her when senior staff whispered behind her back, and encouraged her when she doubted herself. Their late-night conversations drifted from legal statements to childhood memories, to dreams they never admitted to anyone else. Emily found herself laughing again. Ethan found himself feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. One night, after a brutal 8-hour testimony session, Emily stepped outside the hospital for air. Ethan joined her. "You know," he said softly, "you're braver than anyone in that building." She smiled, tired but grateful. "I was terrified the whole time, Courage doesn't mean you weren't scared. It means you didn't let fear win. Silence wrapped around them gently. Emily finally asked the question she'd been afraid of. Why did you help me that night? You didn't even know me. Ethan looked at her like she was the first sunrise after a long winter. Because I've spent years watching people stay silent. For once, I wanted to stand with someone who didn't. Her chest tightened. Emotion, gratitude, something warmer. When the board finally fired Hale and he was formally charged, the staff gathered around Emily. She had faced the giant no one else dared to challenge. She had saved patients' lives. She had saved herself. But the end wasn't the victory. It was the journey. It was the strength she never knew she had. It was the stranger who walked in at the exact moment she lost hope. As Ethan prepared to leave, she felt the fear of losing him. She tried to smile. Duty calls? He nodded slowly. Unless you want me to stay. Her breath hitched.
Ido.
He stepped closer, eyes searching hers. I stay where I'm needed. But with you, it feels like where I'm meant to be. Emily felt something settle inside her. The feeling of finally being safe. And with that, the ruthless stranger who walked in to save her stayed to love her. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made your heart beat a little faster, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today.